So excited about today's session. My name is Precious Miller, and I'm the coordinator of MyBest, and I bring to you today's session regarding healthy colleges building economic stability practices at their institutions, as well as in their communities, which is the heart behind the summit this year. We want to make sure that everyone is armed and ready to go for a healthy, productive, successful, exciting, passion-filled academic year. So with that, we are going to begin. I would be remiss if I did not share my colleagues with you. I believe that it's important to give honor where honor is due, and I really do appreciate and value the connections that I have with my colleagues, Erica Oriens, Jenny Shanker, and Katie Girardello. It is such a pleasure to work alongside you guys, and I just want to take a minute to honor you. Thank you for your support today. I share with you today's agenda. We are going to begin with some administrivia introductions. We are also going to have some amazing colleagues from Mott Community College, Grand Rapids Community College, and West Shore share their economic stability practices with us. And I am just so looking forward to highlighting these colleges and taking some virtual tours of their spaces. We will also have an opportunity for everyone to have some Q&A with our colleagues. So think of the questions that you might want to pose to our colleges today. And then we're going to conclude with some reminders about what you can anticipate this afternoon. So stay tuned. Many of us are familiar with how to engage in this virtual space. I just want to remind you all that we do welcome connectivity. So I ask that you rename yourselves at this time. We want to make sure that we can foster connection today, and that will just help with those connections. We also ask that you guys follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn. If you're not on Twitter, now is a great time to start an account. If you are not yet ready to curate your own content in those digital spaces, that is a-okay. They have pictures and things that you can share on Twitter, and people go crazy for a picture of a cat and a dog these days. So go ahead and share that and add the MCSS tag for a chance to be entered into our raffle, My Healthy Colleges 21. So we ask that you just engage with us in those spaces as well and connect with your colleagues across the state as well as across the country. The slides and videos that are going to be shared during today's session will be posted on the Summit website after today's session. We're also going to have some videos that are going to be shared. So if you are interested in reviewing the videos that are going to be shared, or as well as if you want to share those videos with other members of your institution, that would be okay and will be available on the Summit website after today's session. I also would like to do a moment of honor for all of the community colleges that are participating in the MyBest initiative. MyBest would not be an initiative without all of you and your tireless dedication to student success and really being champions for financial stability. So bravo to all of you, and thank you for your work. I also want to take a moment to thank ECMC Foundation for being our funders and funding this incredible work for our colleges. Okay, so again, I highlighted the colleges that we are going to feature, though we have a number of institutions who are doing incredible and unmeasurable efforts to student success and financial stability for students. We don't have that much time. I mean, if everyone wanted to sit and chat for hours on end, we could absolutely feature every college. But for the sake of time, to make sure everyone can grab a bagel snack before our afternoon session today, we are just going to highlight 3 institutions. And those institutions, again, are Grand Rapids Community College, Mott Community College, and West Shore Community College. Thank you to all of you for your time and willingness to share your institutions with us today. So in a few moments, Lina Blair and Sandy Gregory from Grand Rapids Community College are going to share more about the inner workings of the food pantry at Grand Rapids Community College. And I am so excited to hear more about what is allowing for the food pantry in Grand Rapids to really thrive and take on a life of its own. This has been phenomenal support to so many students, and I believe the success of the food pantry is tied to knowing the needs of their students and understanding the needs of their community. So I'm looking forward to hearing from both of you this morning. Understanding student needs is a critical part of My Best, and realizing that our institutions also had a desire to better know their students, My Best decided to partner with Michigan Association of United Ways. If this is your first time learning about this organization, I'd like to share that this organization leads the state efforts to increase access to public benefits and has done really extensive research regarding ALICE families. And ALICE stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, and Employed. Many ALICE families are represented on our college campuses and may earn wages that are above the poverty line, but don't bring in enough money monthly to afford their household budget. ALICE households live in every county in the state of Michigan and every county in the United States of America. These ALICE households are in urban, suburban, and rural communities and include people of all genders, ages, race, ethnicities, and across all family types. Many of these individuals are also enrolled at our institutions. Here are some data points to help you become more familiar with ALICE. And ALICE, again, is the individuals who could be at our institutions who are asset limited, income constrained, and employed. 38% of Michigan households are unable to afford the basics of their household. And that includes housing, childcare, food, transportation, healthcare, and technology. So it's no surprise that ALICE residents are economically insecure. One unexpected financial hardship could really be detrimental to an ALICE family. And I was thinking about my personal situation a couple weeks ago. My car broke down. It overheated, and I couldn't imagine what it would be like if I didn't have the resources needed to fix my car, especially if I had a class to go to the day in which my car decided to overheat. So it's really challenging for a lot of individuals who are considered to be ALICE. So what you see here reflects the household survival budget. It replicates the bare minimum cost to live and work in the modern economy. You may also notice that this budget doesn't include things like savings for emergencies, like when your car decides to overheat randomly, or future goals like college or retirement. Some of us might want to retire someday, and I would like to suggest that we might want to retire comfortably. That isn't always something that ALICE households can think about. This is a point in time data reflection of what ALICE household budget looks like. And so I want to pause and just remind everyone that ALICE data is something that you can pull specific for your county. And this budget specifically reflects the survival budget for Kent County, where Grand Rapids Community College is located. There are over 245,000 households in Kent County alone. And of those households, 25% are considered ALICE and 10% are below the poverty line. So it's fair to say that it is likely that some of our students at Grand Rapids Community College fall within what would be considered an ALICE household. And I appreciate Grand Rapids Community College specifically highlighting food, because we see that this budget demonstrates that food, transportation, and housing are high priority needs and are pulling on the budget of those who are considered to be ALICE. So here is another view of the household survival budget for ALICE residents in Michigan. This is specific for Michigan. And food still remains a top need for ALICE households. And again, it's wisdom that Grand Rapids Community College are champions to the food pantry, because it speaks to the need of those in their county who have food needs and are considered to be ALICE. So I will now shift gears and we will meet and hear the story of a few students who have been really impacted by the food pantry at Grand Rapids Community College. I'm going to make sure that I am sharing my sound so that everyone can hear this. Looks like we're good to go. Can you hear it okay?
GRCC initially took part in the Hope Center survey in 2016 to gather data on our student basic needs and security. Upon receipt and review of the data, the college responded by creating College Action Project 3.3. This team has been intentional in removing barriers and addressing basic needs and securities to allow our students to succeed. It's up to all of us to be a part of this work and to create a culture of care.
In 2020, GRCC students participated in a survey. Here's what we learned. 29% of your students experienced food insecurity in the prior 30 days. This could mean skipping meals or not having enough to eat. 40% of your students experienced housing insecurity in the previous year. This could mean couch surfing, being at risk of losing their housing, not being able to pay their rent or mortgage, or having their utilities shut off because they weren't able to pay the bill. 11% of your students experienced homelessness at least 2 nights in the previous year, meaning they slept outside or in their car. We know there's a good chance your students are struggling with some things outside of the classroom. In addition to food and housing insecurity, we know your students are struggling with mental health, access to medical and dental care, or child care while they're working and going to school. We know these things can be barriers to their success as a student at GRCC.
I'm dealing with a lot of personal issues and mental health, and in school it's difficult for me to do specific tasks without being hands-on and in person.
I work about 27 hours per week.
I work 40 hours a week. I care for my grandma and my mother at home.
We have Medicaid, and then we also have food stamps and WIC. We are a family of 3, but my husband's working hours reduced, and I'm not working because I'm taking care of him, and then I'm also studying online. That's why I'm so glad that you guys have the food pantry, because without it, it will be hard sometimes to have food every week.
My wife works 2 jobs, and I'm unemployed, and we got 2 kids that are at home during the day, so it is a struggle. Everyone's doing just as bad as I am, so it's really, there's nowhere to turn. That's why I turned to you guys to ask for help.
I had also received the emergency funds, and yeah, that has helped me with some costs for the school tuition and then paying rent also.
On a day-to-day basis, it's just trying to supply myself with basic food needs like milk, cheese, dairy, canned goods, things like that.
It does help with the food pantry, having that resource.
I personally have signed up for the food pantry just because I was without a job for like a good month. Sometimes life can get really hard, and some people aren't in the correct state of mind. I ended up going on academic probation because I didn't take advantage of the tutoring labs, and I really should have, but I had a fear of asking for help, because if you have that fear of asking for help, it's just gonna go all downhill.
The resources I would say are all the employees and supervisors I have right now, because they've been very helpful in my needs of mental health, getting disability services and using the food pantry at times when I need them or need it. It's amazing.
There's a lot of resources here that help me, including the job here at GRCC. They help me with an advisor and what my next steps are, what classes I should take.
Tutoring services are very helpful as well to help me excel in my classes if I ever need any help. I had to drop out of an English class, but using the resources in the labs, it has helped me a lot, and I passed the second time with an A, so that was great.
They're really good resources. They're very helpful. If you know you need the help, you should go get that help.
Don't be afraid to reach out, because that's why they are here in the first place.
Just keep asking and don't be complacent, because if you can't help yourself, someone else there can help you in the meantime.
Even if students feel that they have everything they need, they're still here to help. use up as much as you can. You know, you're paying to come here, so, you know, use whatever they offer. Let other people know that you use it, because that could encourage them to feel comfortable to use it too.
Like right now, I'm here because I'm not afraid to tell that I had needed that service. So yeah, it's nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, obviously all of us have struggles, so we understand the greatest need that we have. So if you do have the need, come and visit them on the student life.
What I want professors to know about me is that I am trying. I am putting as much effort as I can in without trying to spread myself thin with working in school and home life.
I know sometimes, multiple times, I didn't have the motivation to want to do the work. I feel like professors and instructors should kind of like think a little before assigning like 20 different assignments that are due like around the same week, because sometimes it's not going to be a thing people can do.
All my questions have been answered. That's the one thing, because it's hard when you turn to somebody and they don't know what to say or what to do. And I've been able to come here and I've been directed in the right direction.
Because you work at Grand Rapids Community College, we already know that you care deeply about our students. In order to know and understand the resources that we have at GRCC for our students, we would like you to be aware of the Get Help page. grcc.edu/gethelp. Nobody knows everything and you don't have to. That's why we want you to visit the Get Help page. It is a way for them to get assistance financially, participate in our food bank and other services that we provide to make sure our students stay on track so that they can accomplish their goals. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of help for our students to accomplish their goals. And that's what we're here for. You connect with students every day, and you can destigmatize and help students feel less isolated by providing resources to our students.
Wow. That video really resonates with me each time I watch it. I just can't imagine how brave and vulnerable students have to be to come forward and share their story. And I see many students in my past work reflected in their stories. And so it's just really touching to hear. But I'd like to suggest that students like these are in all of our spaces. And so we all are positioned to make an impact. It doesn't have to be a food pantry. It could be a positive relationship. So I just wanted to throw that out there as an opportunity. So one thing about the pandemic is I haven't been able to visit many colleges and seeing these faces. And so I wanted to offer all of us an opportunity to kind of get a bird's eye view, if you will, or be a fly on the wall of what these spaces look like. And so we're gonna be flies on the wall of the food pantry at Grand Rapids Community College to see the inner workings and understand the flow of how this student support works at their institution. Oh, so sorry.
Hi, this is the GRCC Food Pantry. I just wanted to kind of walk you through the process that we have right now. As you can see, we're staged up for packing our bags for next week. So currently students come in, we have a pre-packed bag for them, and then they have their choice of a couple frozen items and refrigerated items. So we have volunteers come in every week. They put together all of the items that we have on the table here, and then we have bags ready to go for them. And you can see there's a wide variety of items here. We try to do a couple things that could make a couple meals for each student. And they'll get a grocery bag like this, full of items, pretty heavy, about 25 pounds. And then we have a freezer and fridge back here, which I'll show you. Students are able to choose 2 different frozen meats every week. And we have, that changes on a weekly basis depending on what's available from Feeding America West Michigan. And then in our fridge, we generally have butter, cheese, eggs, and then we have a partnership with a local farm. So we have fresh produce during the growing season that students are able to get. We're also able to offer spices and condiments. And just recently, we had another partnership with Bimbo Bakery, which is a local bakery in town. And we're able to offer fresh bread, some type of sweet every week, and then another thing like a bagel or a muffin. You can see the bags that we have ready to go for this week. We also have baby items, so we can offer diapers, wipes, baby food, and we have those bags pre-packed as well. And then because we have a partnership with Feeding America, we do also have to provide to community members who come in. So we have grab and go bags, which include items that are more simple to prepare and for folks who don't have a kitchen. You can take a look around and you can see the whole inventory that we have. We're able to get quite a variety through Feeding America. We have hygiene and household products as well, dish detergent, laundry soap, feminine menstrual products, and then other things like body wash and shampoo. And then I'm going to take you into the other room and show you what a student would do when they come in.
So if you are curious to see what happens next, the video is going to be posted on the Summit webpage, and you would be able to watch the next segment of that video on that platform. We are going to segue and now hear from Lina Blair and Sandy Gregory from Grand Rapids Community College. It's a pleasure to have you guys join us today. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Take it away.
Thanks for having us. Again, I'm Lina Blair and can kick this thing off. So as you heard, this College Action Project was created. You can see the goals on the right side of the screen of this College Action Project, but basically the food pantry is a small part of something much bigger that we're after. It's all about getting students connected with food, and that can be such a tangible, basic thing that we can get a student in the door about, and then obviously, or lots of times, those conversations when students express the need for food, we can get into the real nitty-gritty of maybe a housing crisis or an emergency need, something like that. So food has become for us a vehicle to have a much larger conversation about the rest of what's going on outside of the classroom for these students. And as you can see from the video that we just showed, we have worked hard to encourage and educate our faculty and staff on campus to all take a little bit of responsibility and ask the hard questions of our students, to listen to their answers, to connect them with resources and support, and make it easy for students, because when students have to tell their story multiple times, as you heard in the video, that can be kind of a demotivator or a barrier to them getting help. So this is all about a team effort, and we realize that the two of us can't do that alone. So this is, like I said, a team effort.
So where did we start? The picture you see on the right is our former food pantry. Compare that to what we had in the video. You can see that we've made a lot of progress. At that time, students could come in every 2 weeks. They could grab a bag of groceries. We've changed that now. Students are able to come in once a week, grab a bag of groceries. We let them shop now. Our video was done during the time when we were pre-packing bags for safety before we had more students on campus. Now that we got students on campus during the fall semester, more students, we're allowing them the opportunity to shop for themselves, to grab what they need, what they are going to use, what works for them. And all of this has been funded by Student Alliance and our GRCC Foundation. During COVID, we had a few grants that were able to help us boost what we're able to offer.
So as Dr. Knettel, our provost, had said in the video, we did participate in a survey through the Hope Center in 2016, which is really what kicked off this whole project for the institution. So you can see the data. We knew that a lot of students were food insecure, nearly half. 36% housing insecure, and 10% had been homeless at least 2 nights in the past month. I wanted to reiterate that data because you'll see we've participated in a couple more of these surveys throughout the years, and we can see the impact of the food pantry on this data. So this was shared with the strategic leadership team on our campus, and this is 2017 is when we created this College Action Project.
So our usage pre-COVID, in a typical year, we had about 150 visits. We spent about $5,000, and then COVID hit.
Also, something that we had started, we have created some snack pantries around campus where students don't have to check in. They can just, if they need a snack or a quick lunch or something to get them through class, that they can just grab it and go. Student government also paid for microwaves to be installed next to these snack pantries so that students could heat up, some ramen or SpaghettiOs or, something like that, so that they could, again, have something warm before they get to class or in between classes. We also got creative and partnered with some churches in the neighborhood. We're right downtown in Grand Rapids, and there are lots of churches in the area, and they were really excited about pulling students in and offering students a place to stop and have lunch. They even were providing food as well. So that has been a really cool partnership that we formed.
So we also have a partnership with our GRCC Foundation. The Dr. Bill Pink Investiture Fund helps fund these things. That was created in 2017. At that time, we were using about $4,000 from that fund every year. And then Student Alliance is also funding about $3,000 a year.
Dr. Knettel, and the video that we that you just saw highlighted the Get Help page. Right now, or previously, this work was happening in a lot of different areas across campus. So we wanted to send the message that even though physically we might not be a single stop yet for students facing basic needs and insecurities, we created this website. You can see we've even added, since we created this presentation, but some things that students can click on, or even faculty and staff if they're working with a student, to help them, places where folks can get some resources and get started in the process. And then there's also a form it's the same form on the top of every one of these pages where students can just give us their information, and we'll have someone directly reach out to them if they're not already working with someone.
And part of that creation of that website is, we know that asking for help can be hard. We want to make finding it easy for both students and staff. We want to connect them. In 2020, we had our Learning Day, and our keynote speaker was Dr. Sarah Goldrick-Robb. It was a phenomenal day. There were additional workshops that had discussions around student basic needs. We included language on our syllabus to include the Get Help info. Again, we want to make it easy for everyone to find the information they need. We don't expect everybody to know everything. We don't know everything, but we want people, and we expect people, our staff and our faculty, to connect students to the places they need to be to get the resources that they need. We've increased communication to faculty and staff. We've increased communication to our students. And that's been a real motivator for everyone. And it has also increased the need.
Yeah, and we've even added information about the Get Help page on the universal college syllabus, so that every student sees that in whatever class they're enrolled in. So then March 2020 hit, right? The pandemic hit, and we were thankful to be able to spring into action because of the groundwork that we had already laid. So we formed a partnership with Feeding America West Michigan, which is the food bank in the area. We called in weekly volunteers to help us pre-package things. The picture of the Meyer loading dock, that was a day where there was the shipping, the food supply chain had kind of fallen apart at that point. And we went to 3 different Meijers thinking that our food was going to be delivered to that one. And we were just had to, roll up our sleeves and figure it out. So it was a real adventure. But it has helped us grow our food pantry and what we offer.
So we did our second Hope Center survey during COVID. You can see that our food insecurity actually went down. It was down from 46% to 34%. Our housing insecure and homeless students remained about the same. So the thing that we want everyone to remember, and we've emphasized here, is that the need hasn't really changed though, but COVID exposed the need, right? Our students, your students have always had this need. COVID just kind of brought it out in the open because there wasn't any more opportunity to keep it quiet. They needed our help and they asked for our help. So it exposed the need quite a bit.
We also participated in another Hope Center survey. This is the most recent survey information. We've gone down to 29% in our food insecurity numbers from 46 originally. So that tells us that what we're doing is helping our students, which is extremely encouraging and only makes us want to do more. Our housing insecurity has gone up though throughout the pandemic, and that homelessness indicator has gone up by 1% each time we've done that survey. So we know that there are gaps there that we need to keep working on.
So how do we make it all happen? As Lina said, there have been a lot of adventures. She and I have spent a lot of time together tracking down food. But beyond that, we have had donations from our foundation. Our retirees have donated. Feeding America has been a game changer for us. Previously, we ordered food through Meijer. Feeding America, we can get so much more at such a lower cost, and it has allowed us to offer a larger variety. Our strategic leadership team, we requested money for that commercial fridge and freezer that you saw in the video. That also has been a game changer. The ability to offer eggs and milk and frozen meats has been great. United Way grants, we received those during COVID. Our Student Alliance, our students made donations to allow us to offer more for their fellow students. That for us was one of the biggest things. They wanted to take care of each other. We have a partnership with Plainsong Farms and Bimbo Bakery, which you heard about in the video. We have also found out that our students were lacking in technology. And so our IT department jumped in, and we were able to do loaner laptops and loaner hotspots for our students that began during COVID, and that's continued on. Our Sekia Institute for Culinary Education and our Creative Dining caterer on campus have offered donations. Our students in the Culinary Institute have helped us to write up easy to make recipes, healthy recipes that we can share with our students. The picture that you see there is a food drive for MLK Day. One of our sororities, a national sorority, chose us as their recipient for their Giving Day. And then we've also just recently partnered with one of our community agencies on homelessness, Arbor Circle, who is now offering office hours here on campus for students who are facing homelessness. All of these partnerships came about because we're passionate about what we're doing, about helping our students. And Lina and I don't know how to be quiet. So we talk to everybody. And the more you talk, the more you hear about others who are passionate about this work, and the more these things pop up. The partnerships happen because we keep talking and others are talking, and our student stories are out there. So I would encourage all of you at your institutions to do the same. Just keep talking.
So we've kind of talked about this, but here's the list of the things that we're able to provide now through the food pantry.
So the communication to students, again, asking for help is hard, finding help shouldn't be. So we've made sure that we let them know about the Get Help, that we talk about the food pantry in a lot of our emails that go out. We have a poster about our Get Help page that has been placed in every classroom. Our administration encouraged us to do that. So that is in every classroom. We have targeted emails and texts that go out to students who have expressed a need when they were filling out the CARES Act funding request, the HERF funding request. We have the emergency assistance application. We make sure that we're connecting them to all the resources that we think they might be able to use. And we continue to offer training for our faculty and staff. Again, getting the word out, finding every time we offer a training, there's 1 or 2 new people who are like, I love this. How can I help? What can I do? Or I know somebody who does this. Can I connect you with them? So we just want to make sure that we continue that training and continue those partnerships. And then the GRCC Cares campaign, again, making sure that that message gets out.
So usage data, Sandy had talked a little bit earlier. We had about 120 visits throughout the year before the pandemic. In 2019, 2020, we had increased to the pre-COVID totals were around 244 visits. And then from March 16th to the end of the semester, we increased to 589 visits in just a couple months. So I'm tired looking at that data, thinking of all the food that got hauled and boxed up and all that. And then 2020, 2021, starting in summer, we've totaled about 2,000 visits for that that academic year. So you can already see we went from right before the pandemic, 124 visits to 2,023. So definitely the cost has increased. How much, it's wild.
So the other thing we talked about is that the food pantry is just the tip of the iceberg, right? This is the focal point. This is something that you can show. This is where students often reach out first. But there's other things that we need to connect them with. So we have an emergency fund here at GRCC. And that's been around since about 2009. And we've had students apply for that. We've changed that as we've gone through the process. We used to have students fill out a budget. We've changed that to, we don't want them to prove their poverty. Just tell us what's going on and how we can help. So as you can see, the numbers, 2018, we gave out about 14,000. 2019 to 20, that jumped up to $46,000. And that was grants and loans, 120 of them approved. 2020, 21, we approved 95 grants and loans for $37,000. Our student need exceeded that. We are working through our College Action Project to identify funding so that we can continue to meet what our students need. 2021 to date, I didn't update this, so I just looked at the number today. We've got close to 60 requests that are in there. We are continuing to meet the need. We have identified other sources besides the emergency fund that we can use, which is our bookstore fund. We have a lot of students now through Reconnect and Futures for Frontliners who are here. Their tuition's covered. They get here and they can't cover their books. So we found a way to help with that. We also have a separate scholarship that we can look at through the emergency fund, and that is for non-traditional age females who are returning to school. So we are getting all these pieces together. And oftentimes we hear about these students when they come to the food pantry. They come to the food pantry, they say, yeah, this is great, but I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. So somebody here then connects them to the emergency fund. So it's that connection of all these resources and how we support our students so that they can succeed and meet their goals.
So looking forward, and this is our last slide. So obviously you've hopefully gotten the picture that this work is a lot more than just the food pantry. And this is kind of our task list of what's coming up, to identify sustainable funding for the pantry. We've reopened the snack pantries and doubled the number of them that we offer, getting some permanent food pantries at our other campus locations to create that single stop, and then working with other partners like DHHS, having maybe someone from DHHS on our campus on every day. Community partners, again, adding to that list of folks who can help with housing issues, childcare, a clothing closet, a laundry facility. So we're not done yet, but we're going to keep chipping away at it. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Whoa, thank you so much. There's so much rich content, data. Um, it seems like a nice oiled machine. We had a couple questions come through in the chat, but you guys did such a phenomenal job that you've answered them. One question was, what's next on your game changer list? And we were able to see exactly what was coming up next. And another question was, how do you keep everyone on the same page? Is there a secret passage meeting cave that you guys go to stay on the same page about everything? And you've answered that in the chat. Before we segue to focusing on and highlighting Mott Community College, are there any final words or advice you'd like to share with those who are looking to scale up their food pantry?
There it is.
Oops. Keep talking, keep reaching out. If you can create a partnership with Feeding America, it is a game changer. If you can get administration on board to help you find funding for things like a new space, refrigerators and freezers, it is a game changer. And don't forget about our students who are parents. The feedback we get from parents who come in and ask for diapers and wipes every week is amazing. Just keep talking. Just keep sharing your passion for helping students.
And I would also just add, to get the student story out there, to get students involved in the process and invested in that. It's hard for folks, administration or faculty and staff, to say no when it's a student talking about this. So continue to get students involved in the work.
Phenomenal. Thank you both so much for everything you were able to share with us this morning. Okay, Mott Community College, Dinah Schaller, lead social worker for the Lenore Crowdy Family Life Center. It's a pleasure to be able to highlight the work that's taking place at MCC. We are going to explore and discuss some data points that really firm up why the efforts that are taking place at Mott Community College are so impactful and needed and necessary. In fall 2020, we partnered with Trellis Research to launch the Student Financial Wellness Survey. And this is a no-cost survey. So if you are an institution who are interested in exploring this being launched at your college, that's something to think about. It's a no-cost survey. The survey findings that we had from the survey allows for institutions to identify acute areas for student needs, allowing institutions to also wisely ration scarce resources to maximize positive outcomes for students. So I can't speak more highly of Trellis Research and the Student Financial Wellness Survey. From the survey, we learned so much. We learned that 79% of students reported using their credit card one or more times in the prior year for something they didn't have money for. For students who are financially vulnerable, a relatively small expense can really force students to make difficult decisions around staying enrolled in college. We also learned through that a little more than half of students are housing secure, but just under half of students are housing insecure, similarly to the data that Lina and Sandy just shared about housing insecurity. Respondents from the survey who are housing insecure are most likely to be female and are enrolled part-time. These students also answered at higher rates that they worry about having enough money to pay for school. And if we are thinking about students who are also parents, we could guesstimate that the students who answered of being housing insecure might also be parents or have small children that they're taking care of. A large percentage of students also reported using their credit card one or more times in the prior year for something, again, that they didn't have money for. This shows that student finances are really susceptible to unexpected expenses, and their income shifts around a lot. not a lot of our students are also worried about having enough money to pay for school. 70%. I couldn't imagine being in a lecture and trying to focus on the content that my professor is sharing, but also in the back of my mind realizing that I might not be here in the next semester. Like, how do you balance those two thoughts that are happening simultaneously? I would imagine it would be hard to stay focused on the course content with having those worries. And in featuring Mott Community College, I look forward to learning from Dinah about how their scaling efforts are supporting the removal of non-academic barriers to students so that it's less of a worry about how they're going to pay for the coming semesters. Before I do turn things over to Dinah, I would like to share a student story from Mott Community College so that we can understand what the student impact is for students at Mott. When the Lenore Crowdy Family Life Center began, our temporary location in the Prowl Center at Mott, we had a student referred to us due to the fact that she needed assistance accessing resources for housing and financial assistance. She had visited the Counseling and Advising Center, and they referred her to me. This student is an international student who had been living with her partner and their partner and her son. Her partner suddenly moved out and left her to negotiate all the expenses on her own. When she arrived at the office, she expressed a need for counseling, financial assistance for stable housing, food and utilities, and help looking for a job. We supported her with all of these areas, then COVID happened. During that time, we were in consistent contact, and she utilized our contact to get assistance with emergency food, unemployment, and counseling for her son. She also started volunteering at the food pantry during the pandemic, and we were delivering 150 to 175 food boxes every other week. During this time, she also assisted another student with navigating his classes as they had switched to the online format. As we moved out of lockdown and into our new building, this student became a student worker. She utilized our services to continue the support she needed during the pandemic, such as internet assistance, Chromebook loan, and student emergency funds. She also provided assistance to other students while she worked at the center. That's a ripple effect if I've never heard one. She eventually became a C2C Connect to Complete mentor, in which she mentored students in our developmental classes to help support them during the pandemic and with online learning. Her connection with the Lenore Crowdy Family Life Center helped her gain strength, a sense of calm, and the support she needed to begin applying for positions in the community. She found a job at a local nonprofit in their accounting department. Economic stability. She made the dean's list all of the semesters she was with us, and she eventually received a promotion at work. She is in her last semester at Mott, persistence. She is transferring to a local college to continue her education for her bachelor's degree. Her success was an honor to be a part of. A quote from her sums up how we at the center want to support our students at Mott. How can I ever repay you for your support? You have been assisting me. While she may feel she needs to repay us, she has already done this by demonstrating her persistence toward her goals at Mott Community College. That's an amazing student success story. Thank you so much, Dinah, for sharing that with us. We are now going to be viewing and touring the Lenore Crowdy Family Life Center and all of the things that are taking place there.
Welcome to the Lenore Crowdy Family Life Center here at Mott Community College. My name is Dinah Schaller. I'm the lead social worker for the center. When you come to the center, you will see our lobby. It's available for student and faculty and staff use. We have Chromebooks and Wi-Fi that you can access, as well as come to our front desk, which will greet people and have you be able to schedule appointments to either use Mott Eats Food Pantry or Ellen's Closet, or to access other resources or supports that we have here at the Family Life Center. The Mott Eats Food Pantry is located directly behind the welcome desk. We'll go take a look at that next. This is the Mott Eats Food Pantry, where we have a variety of fresh and frozen items. We have breads, eggs, dairy products, fruits and vegetables available to the members of the Mott community. This section of the pantry is where our non-perishable and personal items are located. We have personal items such as shampoo, soap, diapers, and other items for students to choose from, as well as the non-perishables. This is Ellen's Closet. We have casual and business clothing available to the Mott community. You can come down here and you can shop and you can pick out the items that you need. This is all free to the Mott community. In addition to the resources that you saw today, the Family Life Center also provides a variety of other services. We have multi-purpose rooms that are available for community groups and individuals on the Mott campus to use, as well as for appointments and other support services that we provide at the Family Life Center. If you need to use the Family Life Center, you can call 810-232-4962. Please come visit us. We're here to help.
Wow, incredible, incredible work. It looks like a one-stop shop where students can really get access to any need that they might have. I'm going to turn things over to Dinah to tell us more about the Lenore Crowdy Family Life Center. Dinah, please take it away.
I know I was on mute. I got up. Thank you so much. I am so glad to be here to be able to share about the center. And I look at that video and I'm like, oh, that was such a long time ago. I need to redo that. Things have changed so much during our process of opening the center. And I invite anybody that wants to come to be able to come and visit. We would love to be able to have you visit or even do a virtual tour or to be able to ask us any more questions. I want to give a big kudos to Grand Rapids Community College because a lot of the work that they're doing is very similar to the work we're doing. The main difference is we just happen to be blessed with a one-stop shop right now. So we're in a one-space building that allows our students to come and access any resource they may need. And I'm going to share a quick little slide with you that gives you a little bit of an overview of some of the things that we've been doing and how we've been able to make it possible these last few. I started in October of 2019, so that's really when everything started to launch off. And as you can see, we've grown into the building and now we have this wraparound one-stop shop services providing to all of our students. And one of the biggest things I think that is helping with our sustainability is our community partnerships, our internal partnerships, and our internships that we have with our community members. Like Lena said, it's not one person, it's a team. It's a team of individuals who are wrapping around our students where they're at. Our students come in the door, they may come in for food, they may come in for office supplies, school supplies, they may come in for clothing, but what we find is there's several things that are impacting their lives. And I think you can see that through the surveys. It's not just one thing. And having somebody to sit with them, to talk with them, to listen to them, and to guide them through this sometimes very confusing process of accessing resources, especially during and after a pandemic, is very helpful. And so we are lucky because we have 2 part-time clinicians at our center that we brought on during the pandemic. We've hosted 2 MSW interns. We have created a partnership with the Michigan State University medical interns, and they come to us for 2 weeks every semester and help us do project-based things for different types of groups. We've had 30 social work tech interns that have come through the center since the pandemic, because we have a program at Mott for social work technicians, and now our center is their internship placement. So every social work intern that's coming through Mott, we are getting them into our center. So that has allowed us to have personal touch contact with our students, and they have been able to negotiate so much on behalf of other students. And when you read the story about our student, it really is about that circle. It's about our students coming in, getting the help that they need, but also helping other students. And that's how we frame what we do here. It's not just a site for us to help people, but it's also a site for people to come and get some skills, to be able to work with us. We've brought a lot of students on as student employees who have come and volunteered, who have needed our services, because then it normalizes the process and says this is available to everybody, and it's part of our culture and climate here at Mott. We have one part-time volunteer coordinator, which was Vanessa. You saw her in the video coordinator, but she's been integral and a part of our work since day one. And we've had hundreds and hundreds of volunteers, from community members. We've had faculty members volunteer with us all through the pandemic, and currently they still come once a week. We've had departments adopt us. We've had community members adopt us. We've had sororities adopt us. We've just had so much. It's about, like they're saying, you keep talking, you talk to everybody, you find out who's out there, you find out what community efforts are out there, and we try to make sure that the students get a warm handoff to those partners that are out there, but also those partners are coming onto our campus. We have spaces for them to be and to be able to partner with us. We just had a community partner come through who is Hurley, which is a medical facility within our county, but they are going to put a telehealth kiosk in our personal health room. Yes, they have a pilot project, and they asked us if we would participate. And I said, of course, that would be, kiosks are a great way to get services to your students. And if we could get more of them in our center, that would be amazing. So it's really about trying to find out where the services are in our community and inviting them to come out onto our campus. You can see we have over 50 community partners. We have 10 internal partners, probably more. We're currently offering 9 virtual and hybrid support groups for specific identity groups, and that's all through community partners. Every community partner is hosting those support groups for our students, and it's ranging from LGBTQ to former foster students, to single moms, to parents, to everyone. We also are connected to the Early Childhood Center, and we are able to provide childcare for our students. And that partnership with us, with the Child Care Center and the Family Life Center, has been very beneficial, because we're able to connect our students who need childcare to other additional resources. And we have the capacity for about 80 students in the Child Care Center, and that has grown since the center opened, because we were able to renovate the Child Care Center and increase our amount of students that are able to be serviced to the Child Care Center. And as you can see, we have the Student Emergency Fund. We've been servicing students with the Student Emergency Fund. I think one of the biggest things that we've been able to do with our interns is that we've been able to personally connect to every single student who's received CARES or HER funds after they receive them. We actually make phone calls and we do emails to all of those students to say, how are you doing? Do you need anything else? Because we know a one-time, dispersed amount doesn't always cover every event or every circumstances that occurs. So we try to reach out to them individually and let them know that we're here. And if they need any other help, we're here to help. And we also have set aside funds to help people that may need additional help. And then we've also, one of the biggest things I think we're very proud of is that we have been able to help 727 students, which that number has changed since August. I haven't updated yet, but with case management services, which I think is the biggest piece of what we do here. As Lena said, a student will come in for food, but then we find out they need help paying a bill, or they need help with a funeral expense, or they need help with counseling, or they need, they need to have someone to talk to. And so it's not just providing that concrete, tangible service, but it's providing that one-on-one
connection and relationship support, which I think is so valuable in the time that we're in right now. Students are needing somebody that they can talk to, that can walk them through every single process and not have to go to another person and another person and another person. I love the video that Grand Rapids showed with the young man who said, I got all my answers here and I didn't have to go anywhere else. That's what we're trying to do here, that they don't have to negotiate other areas, that they can get their answers here, and then they build up their capacity and then they can help another student. So one of the biggest things that I think also too with us is our food pantry has increased a great deal since we've opened up at the center, but just since COVID. But one of the things we've served over 97,000 pounds of food to over 2,000 students, and that has been over 6,000 household members. Oops, sorry. Let me do that. Over 6,000 household members. So we actually provide enough food for the household members, and our students are coming back in and shopping also too, so they can come in once a week. And we've actually created a grab and go section also, because there's two types of students. We have students who need food for home, for their home pantry, but there's students who just need a quick something to grab in between classes. And so I love that idea that they have grab and go areas around campus. I'm going to steal that idea and implement that idea. And I just think, the next thing I think is probably going to happen for us is we're probably going to do a mobile food pantry, because what we're finding is that even though we're back on campus, a lot of students still are not able to come back. They have children at home, they have family members at home that they're taking care of. And if we can do a mobile family life center where we can drive into our communities and be there a couple hours a week, I think that would create that safety net for our students that will allow them to feel that connection and then eventually come back. So that's a lot of information. I know. I just wanted to share that the importance of the community partnerships, developing those internships with anybody you can. There are so many university groups and community groups that are looking for people to place people at. So if you have a space that's safe and people can come in and you're following protocols, I think because we stayed open during the pandemic and we were following the protocols, we were able to host interns when other places weren't able to. So that was a benefit for us. We also worked with our workforce development. We had student youth interns that they placed with us because they didn't have a lot of placement sites. So we became one of the placement sites. So we had last summer, we had, I think, 12, and then this summer we had 14. So we try to utilize the human resources and human capital as much as we can, because it's people connecting to people, and people connecting to people is labor intensive and takes a lot of time and energy. So I'm just the person who sits in the office and tries to coordinate it all, but it's all the people that are out there meeting with our students every day on a daily basis and talking to them and guiding them and helping them through the process that's making this work that we do successful. So I don't know if anyone has any questions. I would be willing to answer any questions, and then anything else that you would like me to talk about. Thank you.
Thank you, Dinah. And we do actually have 2 questions in the chat for you.
Good.
So question 1, do you have any COVID-related protocols for the clothing closet?
Yes. So what we do is all of the donated items, we require that they be clean items when they bring them in. So we sort through all our items. We actually have a back room you didn't see that we sort through everything. And then we make sure that everything's clean, and then we put it into our closet. And as far as people to come and shop, everybody has to schedule appointments, and we make sure that only 1 person or 2 people are in it at a time. So we are following all our COVID protocols. We do screenings. Every student comes into campus has to have a health and safety screening. Anybody coming into our building has to have a safety screening. They have to sign in. We check their temperature, and they all have to wear masks. We have to wear a mask all day long. I'm in an office, so I shut my door, but normally I would be wearing a mask, but we are currently still wearing masks. And then we also use our students to sanitize between visits with our, when people are coming in. So we have protocols for every area of our center.
Okay, we have 1 minute for a final question. Is Mott still doing the Help Portrait Project? And if so, is it connected to your work?
You know what? That has not happened since COVID, but yes, that would be a community partner that we would work with, or an internal partner that we would work with. Actually, we have a lot of internal partners that are chomping at the bit to come over and provide supports and services. We have our cosmetology program. We also partner with our culinary program. They actually donate all their baked goods and their soups and their quiches to us because the students are still having to bake. And so we're able to take them and put them in our freezer, and we're able to give them to our students, which students love because we get all their cookies and everything. And so we've partnered with other departments on our campus, but the portrait project has not started again because we're open in a hybrid fashion. So once we get to that point, we'll definitely be partnering with them.
Okay. Great. Thank you for answering those questions for us, Dinah. I believe that we might have some additional questions come in. If you do have questions for Dinah, you can go ahead and pop those questions in the chat. And Dinah, would you be able to get to them in the chat?
Yep, I see the pop-up shop. Yep. What we did was I was trying to see how we could get the clothing out to people without having to come into the building. So what we did was we took all of our clothes. We actually Salvation Army donated us a bunch of Z-Racks. I don't know if anybody knows what those are, but we filled our Z-Racks full, and then we put them on our sidewalk. You see we had that sidewalk in our building, and then we had our students out there. And so this was something for us to advertise to our students to come in, but we also allowed our community members to come in because we've been getting so many donations, and we've been very blessed with that. And it's been very helpful because people could just stop by during a certain time, and it was outside, and they could see what they needed. And we're actually going to continue that into the fall. We're doing the pop-up closet, and we're going to do healthy food boxes at the same time. So it'll be prepackaged food boxes and the pop-up, and that'll be outside so people can just drive in. Because some people just don't feel comfortable coming into the building. So we're trying to create different ways of meeting their needs without having them to come into the building.
Great. Thank you again, Dinah, for sharing today.
Thank you.
Okay. West Shore Community College. We are joined by Annie Jacobson and Crystal Young. Before I pass the baton over to you two, I just wanted to share that Public Policy and Associates facilitated a few focus groups for us to, again, help us understand our student needs, because when we can fully understand the needs of our students, we can scale policies and practices at our institution that have been informed by the student voice. Public Policy and Associates facilitated focus groups at Kalamazoo Valley Community College, Oakland Community College, Lake Michigan College. If you are interested in learning more about the focus group, their information can be found on MCCA's website, as well as the feedback and recommendations that we got from those focus groups. From the focus group feedback we received, we noticed that a lot of our students are Pell recipients, followed by scholarships and family contributions, which tells us that our students are paying for college through a variety of financial means. So efforts that we can employ at our institute offset some of these financial that our students might be facing would support student retention and persistence. Feedback that we received from the group is that general impressions were that resources helped meet their needs, and West Shore Community College has some great strategies that they are using to support students in making sure that they have the resources available, but also that students have access to resources, especially technology, which I'm looking forward to West Shore sharing more about what's taking place at their institution. Earlier, we talked about ALICE data. ALICE data also shows us that equity is our work and should be centered to our work, and community colleges have an opportunity to be engaged in moving Michigan towards equity, especially for ALICE households. ALICE is, again, asset limited, income constrained. So the economic benefits to Michigan, bringing all households to the ALICE threshold, meaning that individuals or households would be able to meet their basic needs and have enough money to set aside for savings. That money would be approximately $97.9 billion. That's the economic benefit to all of us doing well as a state. And I believe that what West Shore is doing is really moving all of us towards equity in Michigan. And I believe that West Shore is a great example of what economic stability can look like for our students. When I asked West Shore the benefit or the impact of their downtown Manistee site, which we will do a virtual walkthrough of, the following was shared. West Shore Community College's downtown location is more than just a space. It is a collaboration between multiple entities to assist students, community members, as well as businesses and industry. Students will be able to take classes during the day or evening and have services such as Michigan Works and the Veteran Affairs Office in the same area should the need arise. Whether a student is in high school and dual enrolling, a first-time or returning student, having a campus in the northern part of our district lessens the need for transportation and has a positive impact on downtown businesses. Already, students and workers alike have stopped in to work and study in the open spaces and multiple meeting rooms. With shared resources, we hope students have a one-stop shop for their education and workforce needs. West Shore is going to share with us more about the downtown extension site that has recently opened. I will do a quick video walkthrough and then we will hear from West Shore.
South River Street was originally a large department store in the historic district of downtown Manistee. Sitting empty and blighted for almost a decade, West Shore Community College President Scott Ward started conversations in 2018 on the concept of a collaborative space. Partnerships were crucial in making this idea work. The college has a tax millage and so is able to purchase and build out space, but staffing the building would not be sustainable in the operational budget. The Manistee Area Chamber of Commerce and Michigan Works were two partners that showed interest. Their missions align with that of the college: create communities where an individual can live, work, learn, and prosper. We're creating a space where there is a one-stop shop for education, workforce, economic and community development started to become a reality as boards approved long-term leases and an anonymous donor stepped forward with a $1 million pledge. Years later, the 15,000 square foot building is open for business, serving students, local business and industry, and enticing further development in the area. The open classroom design has a front row seat to freighters navigating the channel. The frosted panels honor the history of local industry. Two additional tenants have signed on: the local Veterans Affairs Office and the Manistee Area Community Foundation. Together, we are making an impact in the community.
West Shore, putting community back in community colleges. I love it. Annie and Crystal, I welcome you to take center stage and share with us more about the inner workings of the Manistee downtown site.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. Kudos to GRCC and MOTS. We love what you're doing, and it's so interesting to see how all of us are really focusing on similar things and doing it a different way depending upon the area that we're at. Can you all see our screen? Yes. The community center downtown really came about in regards to the fact, like, there was this blighted building, and we are a rural community college that serves a very, very broad geographic area. So how do we expand our services in a way that we can bring our services and bring the community college to our community? And so these conversations started years ago. It was back in 2018 that the conversations first began, but our president had this idea, I think probably back in the early 2012. Well, that building that you'll see pictures of again has sat blighted for about 10 years, right in the heart of downtown Manistee. And so being a rural community college, we're not just offering academics. We are a convener of economic development, workforce development, social services on top of academics and education. And so really that was the idea that prompted, could this work? Is there potential? And again, following our mission on making a community or creating a community in which an individual can live, work, learn, and prosper. So the conversation started and there was genuine interest. So the Chamber of Commerce was the first entity that we broached this with. And they were like, this could really work. And what was unique about them is they actually owned their space. And so for them to say, yeah, we're going to sell our building, move into the space and lease it from you, it was like, okay, let's continue to explore this and see if it's what the community needs and how it can benefit our students. So those conversations just kind of snowballed. And it was really interesting to see how it ballooned out. So those of you who aren't familiar with us, we are located in Mason County in the area of Scottsville and Ludington, but just north of us, we service Manistee County, which is a very, very large county. And our college, when it started back in 1967, there was conversation and debate as to where to locate the college. And so there's always kind of been this, we want something in Manistee too. And this conversation started actually not in Manistee, but in downtown Ludington, where there was an economic development opportunity there that didn't come to fruition. But this conversation in parallel started, and it was like, hey, we think that could work. But there are many pieces to the puzzle. So if you listen to the video, we have a capital millage, which is wonderful. With that tax millage, we can fund, building buildings, buying buildings, all infrastructure. But to actually operate a building is a whole other ballgame, as many of you well know. And so having a partner or multiple partners that were going to regularly be in the building and staff it was a key piece. And then also there was the funding piece. Were we going to get, donors? How are we going to get buy-in from the community, even from, not just our local community, but regionally? And as this conversation started, we got recognition from the state. The MEDC, Michigan Economic Development Corporation, wanted to get involved, which was great. We're like, let's explore this, but hey, we got to move quick because there's different development opportunities that are being looked at this building. And if it's not going to work for us, we either want to step out of the way, or if it's going to work for us, we need to move forward so this blighted building isn't hanging out for, in perpetuity. Many of you know the state doesn't always move super fast. So although they were super interested and supportive of it, it didn't work out. During that time frame, we had an anonymous donor step up and say, I believe in this mission of the college. I believe in having a collaborative space where multiple organizations can exist to provide a one-stop shop for community and for students. Here's $1 million. We're like, okay, I think we can make it work now. All those pieces of the puzzle are fitting better together. And so in part of that one-stop shop, so many of you know, when you recognize, especially those food pantries and social services and mental health counseling, how do we get everything a student needs in one place? How can we make sure that their needs are being met that they don't even know they have? So often our students have these issues and they don't know there's resources available to them. They don't know the questions to ask. Along with that, so many of us are doing the same thing or a similar thing in the community. And instead of operating in silos, why don't we hang out in the same office and have that almost passive collaboration where it's like, you bump into someone, oh, what are you working on? Oh, we're doing something similar. Elevating that efficiency and effectiveness of our services.
And in addition to that, right, we know that we have students who live in the northern part of Manistee County, and their drive to our main campus in Mason County was quite long, right, upwards of 45 to 60 minutes. And so by bringing a building even to the southern part of Manistee County takes about 30 minutes off of their drive. And for students, again, it's a rural county, right? So internet access can be difficult. So if they can make it to our main, to our downtown extension site in Manistee, we also have open computer labs where they can access technology there as well.
So you can see a before and after of what that looked like. So that building was not pretty. And like I said, it sat there for a very, very long time. You know, in exploring this opportunity, you know, there were two different developments proposed for this site that failed. One was going to be retail at the bottom and then 3 levels of apartments or condos. And another one was going to be something similar. And again, we're a community college. We want to serve the community. We do not want to take away any sort of economic development opportunity. But what we heard from the community is like, we want West Shore Community College downtown. We want you there. We want the place, you know, flooded with students and with the ability to serve the community in other ways. And so, you know, one of the developers where his plans failed ended up giving us a, you know, a $30,000 donation for programming. Like it was just, there was such a like, we recognize how important this is for the community. We support it. Having the Chamber of Commerce involved, they're the voice of business and industry in the county. So, you know, there were 300 big players right there that were getting totally on board with it. And the Chamber of Commerce also has the Downtown Development Authority and Economic Development under its arm. So that was a very, very strong support. Michigan Works, many of you are familiar with, offering different services for social assistance and workforce development. Makes sense. And so many students, again, don't recognize or realize the opportunities and resources that are available to them through Michigan Works. And we're happy to say it has been a domino effect, even more than we ever imagined. So unfortunately, the building opened mid-COVID. And so we haven't even gotten it up to full capacity yet. Right now, things are really just opening up. The different organizations moved in, and you know, we're rolling at the beginning of the year, but we're really starting to see traffic increase at this point. And it's so exciting to see students and community members come in and be like, I did not know this. I did not know this was available to me. That's like the money, like boom, that's exactly what we were going for. The Veterans Affairs office is through Manistee County. And it was so heartening too to see them come in. They were looking for an office space. It didn't matter, you know, kind of open, collaborative space where they could serve, you know, veterans in needs. Walked in and a half an hour later, got approval to move their office into the building. And so we now have, you know, Michigan Works Workforce Development, Veterans Affairs to support any veterans or services there. And, you know, along with the Chamber and Downtown Development Authority, there's a lot going on. On top of that, the Manistee Area Community Foundation did commit, and another one where we're all helping the community. So any person that comes in could be helped or could be assisted by any one of these entities, which is exactly what we wanted, this collaborative, efficient space where not only are the organizations working together, but we're servicing the community in a much more efficient way.
Plus it transformed the face of the community, right? Which is taking us into the next slide here. But I mean, if you see that, if you refer back to that before picture, this building is located on a prime corner, right in downtown Manistee, right on the Manistee River, right at the intersection of 2 major roads in the city. And so just by transforming the facade of that building is transforming the look of our downtown, and it is also already boosting economic development in the area.
Yeah, so there, since the college committed to building out this space and actually started construction, there has been multiple economic development projects, one of them in excess of, or all of them together in excess of $50 million in downtown Manistee. So it really speaks to the, you know, we're not just a community college. We are so much more than that. And how can we take our mission, take what we have in terms of I don't want to say status or influence, but really that's what it is how can we positively influence our community, utilizing and fulfilling our mission to a higher level that has never been seen before. When our president first brought this idea to our board of trustees, a couple of them were incredibly skeptical. It's like students are supposed to come to campus and we have our main campus right here. And so it's really shifting to, what we didn't even foresee in the pandemic, the 2020s, where you have to bring the services to the community. You can't expect the community to come to you. I'm also super excited to say that we are actually being nominated for the Michigan small under 10 million, I think, economic development project of the year. So we just got that nomination notification last week. So really exciting stuff. And like I said, it hasn't even reached its full potential for us to even tell you all that is working. Classes just started 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, August 30th.
Okay. And so, yeah, it's really, really exciting. And it is something that we're probably going to look to model in some of our other rural areas as well.
And, we didn't really have to do all that much in communicating to the community about it, because all of the different partners located within the building, as Crystal was saying before, they come in for one service to meet with Michigan Works. All of a sudden they're connected with Veterans Affairs. So all of these different organizations have their own unique clientele that are coming into the building and interacting again with other services. Plus, it's such a small community. Crystal was mentioning that Manistee County is quite large, but there's only 25,000 residents within the entire county, 6,000 residents within the city of Manistee. So again, this central location of this building is, communication itself and of itself, just by the amount of traffic that goes past it, either driving, on the river walk, on the river by boat. So it's been really, really well received by our community in Manistee. And like Crystal was mentioning, we look forward to pursuing similar projects in our other areas.
And as other, our partners or our colleagues have said too, if you guys ever want a tour, you're up in the Manistee area, please let us know. It is really, really amazing being in that classroom and having truly a front row seat to a freighter coming through. It's just a really unique experience. The professors that are up there this semester are like, this is a really nice classroom.
I'm one of them. Yes, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Most beautiful classroom I've ever taught in.
Yeah, it's like I said, the energy there with everyone, all the different organizations, it's really, really neat. So that is, essentially the conclusion of our presentation, but I encourage you all, like I said, you ever up north, please stop in.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Thank you both so much for what you're doing in Manistee and really making education accessible for everyone. I'm very appreciative of your work and congratulations on your award.
Thank you. Well, we haven't gotten the award yet. Fingers crossed. We just got nominated. I don't want to preempt anything there.
Okay, I'm going to find some wood. There we go. Okay, we are nearing the end of this session, but I really just, again, want to thank Grand Rapids Community College, Mott Community College, and West Shore Community College for joining us today, sharing your wisdom and the excitement, the buzz that's happening at your institutions. It's really amazing, and I hope that it catches fire to all of you joining us today. This is, again, your reminder. If you want a $50 Spa Finder gift card, get a nice massage, buy some new yoga pants or some comfy clothes, this is your chance to use our hashtag on Twitter or LinkedIn to be entered for our raffle. We have one additional $50 gift card we're looking to give away. If you would please evaluate this session so that we can have some feedback on how to make sessions like this better for future summit sessions. And again, please make sure you join us this afternoon from 3 to 4:30. We're going to have Dr. Dominique Hammonds join us. She's back by popular demand. She did an incredible session for us last year regarding trauma-informed advising, and she's going to bring some self-care practices and strategies to us today. If you have any questions for us, please feel free to connect and reach out. We would love to be here and support the work that's taking place in your spheres of influence. And thank you for coming. I hope you have a great rest of your day and see you at 3 o'clock.